and until Simbizu Pramike, and is from West Rand, he was arrested for his courtesy at Robben Island. And during in 1976, student uprising, he was deeply involved. And but he's not mentioned because he's not from Soweto. That's the problem. Manzeville 4, the first people to be hanged before Solomon. They are never mentioned. Yeah, Manzeville 4. There was they call them Manzeville 4. They were hanged before Solomon. But now the ANC government is not saying anything. It's no what. There's no balance, is there? It's like Soweto la Elona Kaseluguti Kaku. They were hanged. It's just there. Manzeville 4. They know. And if I blame mostly our political leaders, so Western, for example, Abonomvula. She knows about this. You can do that. But another thing that we must understand, some people they prefer doing things in writing. They like raw, yeah. They when they have a piece of paper and the pen, they can write. They excel when it comes to that. But when it goes to social media and it's not there. It's not really their thing. This is where we need those ones about experience to help those ones. You see, local collaboration with us when we are good at this. Yeah. Let me teach you the other side of journalism. Yes, I think we should balance that and say those who have experience on the social media help those ones about only raw, because journalism. We have our qualities. Our qualities are different. We can be all journalists. Some journalists, they don't go to broadcasting. They're not good at broadcasting. But when it comes to writing, this is where they excel. I know they prefer their space when they are in the space in their space alone. They prefer doing that. Oh yeah.
Welcome to Kaseringa's podcast, Bafetu. Chilling on Begzini. Chilling on my Hoover. Out here, don't you Hoover mosque? You call it the way you call it. We have to go to war, don't you Hoover? Yeah, so
No, my eyes. Check my eyes.
Show my Uva that was his keeper, Ntwana.
No man, ngiyabonga ukuthi namhlanje ngizithole la ekasi ringers. Ngiyamandala ngizwa mana ngale podcast, but nawona ngiyajabula ukuthi namhlanje no ngithole ithuba lokuthi nami ngibe ngamkelwe nje nami la. Dala ama guest edlula lapha. Dala mina nginganakwa kanti ngonjalo nganakwa.
Namhlanje Ntwana sigayifila
nje. Nganakwa mara ngibonge kakhulu.
Asigama hour wonke la khona nale spaces khona kuma phone ishuta ngawo sigawa na wonke.
Hayi bafethu no mara ngibongile yazi kumnandi eSouth Africa kukubi abanye bazothi kubnandi those abaphuma kuma countries la ahluphekayo uthe South Africa kumnandi and thina we don't see anything emnandi. So ke namhlanje nje bo integrate sokhuluma nje into ezenzakalayo nje not only around South Africa, around the world into ezenzakala kuphela. So I've been looking at the story lesisa the ambassador as America ila South Africa. So the ambassador lena said esinye statements ukuthi South Africa inika ama Russians wa supply ama South Africa supply ama Russians ama weapon. And I'm surprised because if ungayibheka that in the way futhi ayikhulume ngakhona, it gives me ngenza ukuthi be nemibuzo yami kanjani ke I know some political parties, obviously I won't mention which political parties, and I know some political parties by ideology, they have the same ideology in Americans.
Yeah.
So if you can see, it can tell some of and ungabona futhi in the way ukwenza ngakhona ANC, even if amanye amaphathi ama differences in the ANC, but we have something in common. We know Russians are our friends. I mean now Russians are our friends. I don't see any khona manje makhuluma kanjalo ngibona there's no evidence esho ukuthi now i-Russians thina si supply ama Russians ama weapon ayikho kanjani into engifuna ukuyazi kanjani
and yeah njengoba usasho ukuthi ayiki evidence vele epointayo ukuthi nina nakho you exporting ama weapon Number one, you don't even manufacture weapons in South Africa.
True.
So where do we get the supply? Maybe an Amelash on the press and come again to press and say these are the reasons why we issue. Even though we know sort of apologize it anyway, because he knew it was infectual and all being an effect. So what do you think should happen? Because no, people are actually saying mele afine anyway, mela khafe in this ganjalo.
Yeah, nah, you know what's funny? What's funny ukuthi ukuza ikhuluma straight kwi-media on national TV, but now when apology wayangazi futhi using the same because lebe benza ku the same channel ayisebenzisile ukuthi azokhuluma le. It shows, I'll tell you something, Americans they know that it's difficult to stop Russians when it comes to Africa. We know Russians are not only favorite are not only friends with South Africa, but with the continent itself. So you should know, they know one thing. Once you convince South Africa that no, the Russians are not good for South Africa, you convince the whole continent. So that's why South Africa is a target. They have to convince it. That's why like South Africa, the only problem is now it's leadership. Leadership is a problem. I was not convinced with the answers. With the response from the president and the minister saying they did not know. It was easy. They could have just taken the call and called them. So they could have just done that. Then, my figure media, they would say no. I mean, this is the answer. Give them straight answer. Because now, what they are doing now, they're making even the West now. They are giving the West more powers. They say no, South Africa. That means there's something suspicious there, something happening there. But for me, definitely sure. I'm definitely sure this one, it was a strategic. They knew that, Russians, this is where the Russians, if you want to get the Russians, come to South Africa. Stop them. Stop them in South Africa. Want to stop them in South Africa, they won't move around Africa. Of which you don't agree with that. Every South African will tell you that, no, Russians have been there during our struggle. So we know that. So they can't detect us. Like the Americans, they are like that. They are the worst. They are bullies. They bully countries around the world. That's how they are. Basebenza kanjalo. Indlela bayenza ngayo, if you don't agree into bazenza abazokutshela ukuthi hayi no, valele khoneni. This is what we are going to do. And khona into banga understand. South Africa, they have power. South Africa, if you can say no, if the Russians are saying we sanction. So one thing, if South Africa say we don't want nothing to do with Americans, the whole continent will talk. We know that. I just want to see one day African countries say, you know what, we don't want to be part of United Nations. That will be a threat. They know. That's what I'm saying. They know it's all about the leadership. If we can say we don't want to be from now on as full by member party United Nations. What's the use of Tina to be party United Nations? But we don't have a say. Security Council, no, we don't even a seat with Security Council. So now Tina must figure upon we are not members actually. We're some artificial members. You see, it's a problem. So it's a problem, and this is where strong leadership. We need strong leadership. Not America. Americans, they have power. Yes, they will say they have power there, but our leaders are the one who are
when you say
us.
leadership, I mean, do you think it's a leadership that will still operate like in a political sphere, or somebody who will be a mafia? As in, it's fine. It is endless. It's pause. Yeah, I'm sorry for disturbance. The camera iwile siyazi asinana ama tripod siphatha ngama charger yonke into nje efandaga ngathi ayihlanga but anyway ichubeka kanjani konje besaringa
No, besathi khona into esingayiboni ukuthi we have powers, especially South Africa. South Africa, most African countries, they respect us. And we have also support from some European countries. So why Tina is simple? We want all, let's say South Africa, if South Africa can pull out and say no, we don't want to be member United Nations. If we can pull out the whole continent, if the whole continent can pull out, they know they don't have that powers. We know that. That's what we do. We must do these days now. See, and so when we spoke about the leadership, that's another thing. Leadership. When you ask me what leadership, how political, both. Yeah. For example, politically we need that because of now we have to change. Now, a problem is with the ruling party. We have changed our ideology now. I know that's why corruption is another thing is bulalayo. You know, our leaders when they were still young, they fought for struggle, but when they get older, they become corrupt. You know, it's like they are repaying themselves and say, no, I've been struggling on, eating is batale. This is where the problem is. That is why you will never see a president in Africa, not only in South Africa, in Africa, you'll never find a president who's 40. Never. Because somebody who's 40 still has I beg your pardon, they still have idea afresh and even more ne ideology yakhe it is still fresh. So that is why it is the system. It works like that. No, the West, they want those who are old.
So
They
that
target so that they can control them easily. Yeah, they say no, you'll benefit this and benefit this.
So when you said we need like both, me operating both politically, operate even outside. So when you say outside, what are some of the things maybe you think they can do then to then influence the entire political atmosphere, I mean sphere in South Africa or even the continent at large? So it's like I'm a vigilante in a way. In my mind, when say operating outside political, meaning outside the law, but they have so much influence in Indlela which the political sphere has no chance but to change.
You know, we would like to see that, but it's difficult. They've mastered this system. This system was there for, you know, there's one thing about the West. They knew that it will be difficult for us to break this system. They have put that system for a purpose. You try this, they know which direction we enter. But now what I can say, that the first thing that we must do, we must choose friends who have the same ideology with us. For example, can we be friends with America? No, you can't be friends with America because Americans are using the same system that is happening in South Africa, which is a racial system. So to be friends with America, it won't work. For us, it won't work. I think we should go back on that no, the whole continent, you know, go back to the ideology of Muhammed Gaddafi saying no, one currency. We have to, now the thing, we have good ideas, but when it comes to implementing it, we are taking time. This is where the problem is. When every time we say this, we are one currency, make a snap, we must make sure that we make a one currency. No, make sure that you into futhi siyenza yesikhathi. And when we say sifuna ukuthi sibe na one once, let's do that. Like the Americans they know that, well, if you can be one, if you Africans can be united, they know that it won't be easy for them to break that. So that's why I'm saying Russians, we need them. We need them to defeat the Americans. You need the people that they fear the most. So you need the Russians.
You need the enemy of an enemy.
An enemy of
make
an
your
enemy.
to be a friend.
Exactly. Because now you look at our president. I would say, no, our president. You look at our president. Do you think, somebody has asked me, do you think that our president is fit enough? Do you think our president is fit enough to be our president for more years? I said, that won't happen. We know that won't happen. That won't happen. You know, his ideology, you know, every time he says this, the following day he says this, and we know the history of our president. We know the history of our president is one president who can't stand his ground. For example, if the South Africans are saying, no, we don't want this country, we don't associate, our president will make sure that he obeys those certain countries. We know those certain countries that are killing our continent, not only South Africa, the whole continent. So we need somebody. We know we have for example, I'll name our leader. We have leaders like Julius Malema. He's still young. He's a young guy. No, he's a young guy. So that is why he can say whatever he wants. And is the guy that we can count on at some point. Yes, nobody yes, not everybody likes him, but I don't have to like you sometimes. But what we are doing when we are doing something good, Hispan into sifuna Hispan, but Hispan is saying Hisfuna. Mawngishayela Hispan sami. Then definitely another thing, not only the president, just the whole party is a problem.
Why?
The whole party is the problem. Look at the latest news now, the corruption, the this. Like I've been watching.
Where come my eyes?
the this, and also I was watching a documentary, a gold mafia. What I'm seeing there, you know, it's bigger than that. It's like they've taken over. Now we can't sell our gold. Now they are using other people to steal our gold to get it cheaper, and not only to everyone, but they are doing it to our leaders, people who we count on.
I still remember when I was watching that documentary, the first episode, because yapuma during the week, and during the week you are busy now. So I was watching it. I was shocked, like, isn't this Pumada? Because most of the things, they were not like the way by shooting a corner. It wasn't like theater anyway. You feel like this thing is scripted, but the way they shot the thing and tell a story,
It's very
about
raw.
it was raw, Joe. Like everything was there. The audio, you could tell, look, no, this is actually happening. Even the people up here, you could tell, look, these are actual people. Like, it's a story. It's a plot. Tell me what your first impression of it. Media to book like first episode.
Very
Let's
shocked.
keep on.
You know, I was very shocked. I won't say surprised. I was shocked. Some of them. I won't say surprised because now you look at what is happening now with the Zama and stuff. You know that it was. We knew that some people know those high profile, as they call them, those high profile are involved. But when I look at some of the faces there, when they were mentioning some of the names there, I said, yeah, now it makes sense. And I was shocked even when when they mentioned our monarchies. Said I was say, yeah, this is what. No, that's why it tells a story sometimes why our monarchy, for example, not to be disrespectful to a certain tribe. For example, you look at the kind of attention that the Zulu monarchy is getting. It's not like any other monarchy of other tribes. You know,
Yeah.
they are getting this. You know, I don't know. That's why I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to say special treatment, but they get more exposure. Let me say, yeah, they get more exposure. There's media everywhere. But when I started watching that video and I saw monarchy being involved in this whole mafia stuff, I said, oh yeah, now it makes sense.
No.
Now it makes sense why they are getting that much money. So it makes sense. You know, the continent is facing a trouble. You know, I don't see. That's what I will say. The future, we are the future as youth. We are the future, but I don't see any movement. That won't change. The motto you should understand. You should understand one thing about this corruption. Never develop a place that is rich. You look at, for example, we move away from that and look at West Rand. West Rand is one of the richest when it comes to minerals, when it comes to industrial. But you look at what happened, it won't develop because this is where corruption happens. Never develop a place that is rich so we can eat. It's like that. Like when you look at even in countries like DRC, Congo. Congo, when it comes to minerals, is the richest in the world.
And actually, something interesting in Ibonile was the discovery. There is this, I'm not sure if it's cobalt, because cobalt has been there. There is this other one, sure. This mineral that is conducting electricity. You take these two stones, most langanisa so showcase, and guess which big companies is now that mineral? As a state, Tesla. Because already they are big guys when it comes to the electronics, and including their biggest sell electronic cars. So you find these American companies, they want to milk Africa to a point of
True.
the people that are in the country are not benefiting by anything.
True. Somebody was asking me, you know, Americans. I'll tell you something, Americans. Most known people have invented things like Mhlabin. We look at them. Originally, they're not Americans. Once you invent something that is different from Americans, they give you citizenship. You are an American. So they want anything that benefits them.
Yeah.
Anything that benefits them, they make sure good as bazan baglahlela citizenship. But I know, and I'm invent something with Americans. Then they'll say, no, come and visit America. And then I visit America, they take the idea, they will twist it and say that, no, this one, yes, this guy is a pioneer. Yeah, the idea is also Parliament. You should know he's an American. So Americans, they are parasite. There's nothing. They have nothing actually. Honestly, they have nothing. And another thing that kills me so much is the Middle East, the involvement of the Middle East. For example, United Arab Emirates, Dubai. The Middle East so much involved in milking our minerals. They are using, it's like this is the, when if you want to do corruption, you take from Africa, you push goods, for example, the gold. Something is illegal. You go to
Because in the documentary, there's a lot of.
It has a lot of it shows that look how United Arab Emirates developed. It's our minerals. All those things. It's our minerals. They have, also even them, they know that they would say oil. When you look at it, oil, yes, they will be rich with oil. But when I look at most of the things are called the minerals there.
Oil. Nobody's trading with oil.
Yeah, nobody's trading with oil. So you see what they are doing. They are using the Middle East. Middle East is a problem. They are becoming a problem. So I would like to say, when they were attending, I'm curious. When our African leaders were going to visit, is it what the king Amanj or King Charles the death uthi kuze bekwele coronation lana bo bekhulumani. I'm curious ukuthi yes ngithi ngiyalapha mhlambe ngiyababuza ngifuna ukuthi they must discuss indaba ya land. They must discuss it because when you say land, yes, when you say land in South Africa, white people bangakhuluma, but when you go to King Charles and King Charles said no, land must go. They know, they won't say anything. White people, they don't say so they know they have King Yani or King Charles. So want to see Gutakafan no King Elizabeth. I mean let's be honest. What do you celebrate to Queen Elizabeth? Nobody's celebrating. We're celebrating. And in fact, we know the whole continent knows that. So what I would like to see with this King Charles. Yeah. No, I mean, if you are in English, yes, I'm now. Sometimes
even black people.
Yeah, even black. I'm telling you something. Let me be careful and not say something bad. I would say, yes, yes, because of but no, deep inside, nobody. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any black person who go to Queen Elizabeth. No. Even some English. I don't think they like Queen Elizabeth. South Africa, we say it openly. We say it openly.
And it's interesting. They asked our students, like, will you JV? Not the time I shown in. They were like, Ubani.
Queen Elizabeth. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we should. Yeah. So 14. There's another thing for and futhi ukungenza ukuthi ngicabange ngendlela. When you look at our politics are not balanced like South Africa. South Africa as a whole, you look at most abantu political activists amaningi nabanye ama political idols, they only focus on Soweto. Everything the current party ANC, they're focusing only on Soweto. It's like the people who gave freedom to this country is only people who are from Soweto. But for example, 1976, they are not saying anything. I forgot the name, and he's from West Rand. And until Simbizo Pramaik, and he's from West Rand, he was arrested for his City Robben Island. And during in 1976, student uprising, he was deeply involved. And but he's not mentioned because he's not from Soweto. That's the problem. Manzeville 4, the first people to be hanged before Solomon. They are never mentioned. Manzeville 4. There was they call them Manzeville 4. They were hanged before Solomon. But now the ANC government is not saying anything. It's not what. There's no balance is there. It's like Soweto la gamanya elona kaselo ukuthi libheko kakhulu. They were hanged. It's just Manzeville 4. They know. And if I blame mostly our political leaders. So Western, for example, Abonomvula. She knows about this.
Yeah,
she knows about this. There are political idols corner lapa West Rand, but now they are not being celebrated like amanyama. For example, we have our Solomon Mahlangu njalo every time. But now, what about Abo Pramaik Abasaphile? He's still alive, Pramaik. He was arrested. Mela Zwagale. Pramaik must make Yamazo Pramaik. I think we should make it with Sfalesen's card so good is Kulumena Pramaik. I don't think Pramaik is not one of those people about arrogance and said no, I don't want to be broadcast. What. I think now we should make time. primary because he's not staying far from la ngihlala khona primary. Yeah, I mean it's documented lento lena like he was arrested in Robben Island. He was actually arrested at Robben Island. He stayed for isikhathi esiningi nabanye. He was a member of PAC. Was deeply involved. But now for yena ubuyile there's nothing enzakala for yena because he's not from Soweto. Mamanzi will fall. They are not from Soweto. Don't have to celebrate that. Yabona ukuthi ishaya lana our politics are not balanced.
But somebody can say mfethu, we don't need to dwell in faith on the past. Yes, we know the past is important, including the leaders of the past, young Tola. But we are living in the 21st century. Why should we even study history? Why should we even look at the history? Because this question, I'm having it a lot, especially Mzansi, where the education system again is failing us. And people are miseducated and less educated. So some of those would I feel let's leave the past and focus on the future.
You know,
so how do you begin that conversation to highlight the importance?
This is where the problem is. You know, I would firstly, before I answer this question, I would firstly look at the American history. The black people in America, they would say they are too old to go return to Africa or to learn African languages, but they have time to learn Spanish, German, and you understand? It's like ignoring. It's ignorant. Yeah. So you cannot ignore that. The more you know your history, you'll have a direction. That's why our politics will have direction. If we understand our history, we know that black people have suffered and this and what must be done. We'll start implementing. But now they've killed the media, have killed the media. You know, media media manje into yenzile yenzani ilimaze yenza ukuthi sikhohlwe ihistory yethu. Imedia yenza ukuthi sikhohlwe ihistory yethu. Ubheka kanjani every time you say into yakudala mawubuza abanye ingane ezincane awungitshele apartheid into yakudala. Some person ukwangibuza manje abuza mina wathi ngimtshela ukuthi hayi ebuza mina ngithi why ngingathani ngithi I have a problem ne language Afrikaans. Athi ngithi hayi language bebeyisebenzisa during apartheid. Wangibuza ukuthi did you experience apartheid? Or racial?
That's a very common question.
Yeah, and I laughed. You know what? Who said apartheid is over? Yes, not in that level. We are not expecting racism in that level, but it still exists. So I'm still experiencing that even now, but not in that way. So the question is apartheid still exist? It still exists. So this is where that's what I answered him like that, and I was saying no, no man, yeah, so, it still exists. For example, asiyenze indlela so. Webheke kwizikolo siyekuzo asibheka kuma primaries and high school siyekuzo we had very limited resources. That is what apartheid. The other ones get so we did experience apartheid. The only people would say they never no apartheid existed. Others went to multiracial school, Model C schools, and because of why they are implementing their psychologically, they've made them to acknowledge apartheid. You know, and say no, yeah, it happened. Yes, people were getting fired, but now it's better now because now we can go to this school. You know, so that's what they are doing now. I'll make an example. Look at all the schools, right now. For example, you find a school that a school has maybe the school Safara. Uniform when it comes to uniform and the material. But guess what? You take any race, you take maybe a white principal, within 3 months, it's school already, there are some developments. So, that's why psychologically it tells us not to, when a white man is behind that, things become successful when he's behind everything. So it's like that. I would mention, for example, with the school that I went to, like high school at Mandisa. Mandisa was known as it's one of the schools in. Yes, because of what? Let's be honest. Because of the principal was a non-black, and because the principal was a non-black, and when somebody is non-black was happening, the resources will be given resources. It doesn't mean that the previous principal before him was doing a bad job. No, he was not given or she was not given enough resources. It is like that. They control everything. They control media. You look what's happening. They control media.
before singena ku media, ne, I have this question based on what you were saying. If then resources are given, ne, every time there's a white person in leadership, resources are given, pumped in, whether it's money, resources, whatever. Don't you think we need white leadership then? In those positions of leadership and influence. If money can be poured in because it's white, don't you think it's funa vele ngena amagama la? Whether it's presidency or Gopi.
The system is designed for them. That's the main point. I'll make an example at TA. You look at Cape Town. Cape Town is like you're not in South Africa. Because of because of the part, they will pump up a lot of money there. Because why? It's white people, they have resources. It's like the system is designed for them. When they are there, they'll now you start attracting all these big companies or these people, these business or these organizations. No, because of what? There's a white man there. It's like that, whether you like it or not, the racism is there. It will remain there. It is like that. For example, you look at people who are mixed race. People who are mixed race at the age of 7 years, they know they're mixed race, and then they know I'm different, and this will work for me. And I am different. They know. They feel it. They will say, no, I'm Indian. They will say that if you're Indian. I will say, no, I'm white. Because it's another thing. It's racism. We know we live in a country where racism still exists. And know what? And when these incidents keep on occurring, they get attention media, but they get media attention just for a period of time and disappear. What happened to the guy in Groblesdal in Limpopo? That white guy was beating up a black boy. And even worse, even worse, even worse. They when we started sakona sense and say kancane nje bo bavele sasibonisa after then disappear. Sanyamala. It's like that, but it's so if a black guy benza lento lena, I'm telling you, the whole year, the media will focus on the. This is where I go to resources. Who are the most people who are owning media here in South Africa?
Of course,
white people. So that's why I'm saying resources owned by them,
including this platform.
Including this platform.
Yeah, because I don't own YouTube.
Exactly. So including the platform. So that's why they will pick and choose and say, no, okay, we'll take that one. Okay, that one.
Yeah.
And then you'll find. And with these topics, look at the topic that we're talking about right now. Some will criticize. I would like to hear their views.
That's actually in fact today there are people that are being paid to sort of platforms. See, like a platform like this might offend somebody at the top.
Exactly.
There are people actually being funded to say, do some research, find out one, because people have been asking like him, who's this guy? So you might say something, you're offendable. People on the ground about social media and stuff, they might say, no, what, Meli cancel this channel. It speaks again to the thing you were saying, to say, media is owned.
Yeah, it is owned. Media, definitely, it is owned. Going back with any media footage. Now, we're going back with political balance. Do we have a politics to the balance now? You look at the kind of attention media, Soweto media attention. Everything, even if it's something small, it's happening in Soweto. The media will go there. This.
Are we speaking about Lele, that incident there, Antona late, Pomil. Yeah.
For example, Konamaj. The whole West Rand, let's be honest, the whole West Rand. Nyasbuzu, do you think we don't have journalists here?
We do have.
We do have. But it takes them time. In any footing, there's a journalist to Anjani. A journalist from East Rand or journalist from Soweto had to come here, was to cover up his story. Why is that?
But I guess in general, journalism, I mean, maybe it's just me with my own ignorance, obviously. When I think journalism, I think ACPC, Indaba, somebody kitchen microphone. That's journalism to me. But since when we've been in a sphere, say journalism, that field, and man, you've studied and stuff. What do you think journalism is, and do you think it's an opportunity maybe youngsters should actually pursue especially living in a time like this in South Africa where you can be upside down.
Yeah. I've been saying this to other people who say, local newspapers should be funded. Local newspapers. I'm telling you, if a child a local newspaper, it was a it makes things easier. At least my on that level of excitement to I want to see myself there. Like the kind of platform like in Soweto, they will give them a platform. There are many.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's why I'm saying the problem is here in West Rand. You say in West Rand before going about writing in a head towards and going in there. And because they will tell you in Western good no, they pick and choose some of them. No, we don't want that one. And even worse, you'll find the most journalists that are here are not from West Rand. This is where the problem is. They are not from West Rand. You'll find good now when a platform, but now you are not given a chance. You are from the West Rand, but now somebody from Soweto, East Rand, it's like that. So that's why I'm saying in local newspapers, these guys local newspapers, we support them local newspapers. Because now when you support local newspapers, even now is locally, they know where to start if you have the platform. This is where
but
to
even
start.
now, I think with the media that is there, the free internet, social media, it's one of the free things you could do. But obviously, it's free. I don't mean mahala, 0.0.
Yeah, but it's
data.
affordable. Yeah, it's affordable. Yeah, it's
you still be a journalist using your social media, your podcast or whatever.
You can definitely. You can, but not a part. You can. Also, you can do that. You can do that. But another thing that we must understand: some people they prefer doing things in writing. They like raw. Yeah, they when they have a piece of paper and the pen, they can write. They excel when it comes to that. Abanye when it goes to social media and it's not there. It's not really there. I think this is where we need those ones about experience to help those ones. You see, collaboration with us when you're good at this. Let me teach you the other side of journalism. Yes, I think we should balance that and say those who have experience on the social media help those ones about only raw, because journalism. Journalism, we have our qualities. Our qualities are different. We can be all journalists. Some journalists, they don't go to broadcasting. They're not good at broadcasting. But when it comes to writing, this is where they excel. I know they prefer their space when they are in the space in their space alone. They prefer doing that. But now, not only. We should do that. I mean, this even this one, it's a right platform. That's why I say one day we sitting in high profile. I think we should organize maybe no Pramike. We should organize that. Definitely sure we should organize no Pramike, because now I didn't know anything of Pramike until Nia launcha incwadi yakhe. Because launch unencwadi yakhe incwadi yakhe Pramike. So my launch incwadi yakhe ngathi man, this guy must uhlala la kufishana kunami yazi nokumbona, but manje I didn't know much because of kwenzakalani ile nto bayenza yona, we ignorant.
I think you should
I should yazi le ncwadi. I was there. I'm lucky because I was there when he launched us. No, he was launching the book. I was there.
You still remember?
And I still ngizafuna ukubuyela emuva kancane ukuthi what is the name of the book. I still remember because there are a lot of things said there. And so Mina was mainly focusing on what he was saying, because now when somebody, I think Ngoshiwe Robben Island, I said, I need to hear this. I definitely have to hear this. When he started talking, it's like man himself, because the guy knows a lot and is knowledgeable. The guy is just knowledgeable. We should organize that, man. Like not every time for no the good following so we to meet a political I wrote in it's there in West Rand now. Because long akulumana so because most of the time I was banja ama well-known politicians la manye anjan to the other side.
So do you think youth should be more invested in politics and what is going on obviously around the world, the country? Do you think mele bangenelele vele in that fashion?
They should, Why? The reason being, now we don't live a life here to African. We like Western life.
Mm.
You look at South African. I know one American guy I was busy with in Kulumanai on YouTube in Kulumanai. American guys, I know this is the first time Kulumane a South African.
Mm.
And a South African, oh yes, South African.
Yeah.
Meaning, I see a South African followed by American because some, especially black people, saying especially black people, that when I came to South Africa, I was expecting one of those black people from Africa, but I realized that those African South Africans, though, they want to be Americans. So I want this is where it starts. The more we know about our history, we see there's no need for us to be Americans. I mean, you tell me, Americans, even Americans, they hate speaking English. Do you know that? They say, okay, yes, I can't do. But now, for me, why do you think Americans they go around visiting Africa? Some of them, I think it's some of the musicians, they will say, no, I think originally I'm from this country. When they check my DNA, they are using all these, resources as by using all the DNA. They're using that. Which I know, man, I'm originally from Ghana. It shows even them, they are not happy with that. English to them, it's like, okay, I speak English, but that's why it's broken. That's why their English is broken, because they don't regard themselves as English people. By swim, yeah. They said, no, let's create our own language. That's
Slang.
let us create slang. Let's create this slang. So it's a problem. So for Tina, that's why I'm concerned history from the school. And until we'll find that about there's 70% European history than 30%. At school even now. It is done that the system ends ngabom.
I still remember besifunda ngabo French Revolution, Industrial Revolution. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, also those things they do matter also umdala ne. And even when I went to Evasi, ufuna ngabo Gutenberg, the printing press.
You see.
Things ubona ukuthi mangiphuma la, I'm not gonna apply this.
Yeah.
What I've applied mangiphuma was this. This is what I've been applying.
Yeah.
I think knowledge sifunda even for Meskera, it should be practical.
Exactly. Exactly, should be like that. I was asking myself, they are saying right now Mandisa Shiteka is a school of specialization.
Yeah.
This is where I'm asking myself. When the school is over niga ma resources as well. And you should know one thing. Before somebody places resources somewhere, will tell you what to do. For example, now I'm asking myself, is it a public school? Is it really a public school now? Like, is it really a public school? It is. You should understand. It is difficult to change the name. They can't change the name because, especially, it's from the political idol. So they can't change the school. They know that politics will be very much involved. They can change the system the way they do, but the name, they can't change the name. You find that somebody is owning the school now. I'm not saying that, but now the way the resources are placed now, this is what you say. Why mainly focus on that? Why not Matiba? Because Matiba recently had Ingane Pastor Mating Sinshin. I mean, why not bring more resources there? So I'm asking myself now, why place this so much resources on one school where you can bring resources to other schools also? Why is that? So who's involved? I'm asking myself, who's involved? Who's involved? Who's pressing buttons there and there? Who's placing resources there and there? Because not only one school, resources can be placed in one school. So you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They are going to do that. When time goes on, all these schools will be school of specialization, meaning somebody else he owns the school, but he won't see owns the school. The school owner one bad.
Yeah.
But somebody school owner one bad. So I want to go to already it's in a thinking and so on. Not only we know nalaba balandela sebenzing was now bigger. A COVID, they took advantage, especially in COVID. Begaman, you don't apply straight more school. You apply online.
Yeah.
Meaning there's zero chances to apply go model schools more Pumala election.
Yeah.
So it's another part of racism. So it still exists. Food going back to it still exists. You can go direct. Was back through a system and the system will block you and said you Meaning, but keep them there. This is where, keep them in their
Bahlale
township.
la.
Yeah, keep them there, man. They are too much. That is why I'm asking abantu abaningi, why when you go to their school in numbers, they run away? And make an example. Mina ngisase primary laphan. I used to like Princess High School. But now mangibheka when abantu abamnyama abaningi baya Princess, there's not even one yomlungu manje. They ran away.
Yeah.
You look at the town view.
Same.
Same thing.
Babalekile.
Babalekile. Ian de Klerk. Soon, only maybe 2 of you, but a few white people are bakhona lapha maka. But now, most of the men are babalekile. You see, bangafuni one. They can't say it openly. Ukuthi is going zethu. But now, we'll have to go through systematically. No, we are changing the school to somewhere in it. So it's apartheid schooling also. So that's why.
bahamba
nama resources. You look at the school, kusele igama, Yandi Clerk, but you go there. It's no more that one day. It's like they are not different. Even they are not different from we. Actually, it's all from we district. Look at our district there too. The way they place our principal way too. They will tell you, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. Let's say principal has an strategy. Then you find that principal is fired. They can't do anything. They control our principals at the district. But when there's a white person there, it's like, let's sit down and negotiate. So, no, man, you can do this, but no, not too much, man. You change there and there, not too much.
When it's a black person,
you
must.
from tomorrow.
When it's white,
when
you
it's
can
white,
negotiate.
man, you can. You ask yourself, how many non-black teachers you see in Lokshi? All of us, but let's say, all of us in South Africa, we can study teaching, all of us. But why do we have specific, black teachers have to go to black township? Why is that? Why why they don't create a system where they would say, from now on, we are going to place teachers of different race? Never do. You'll never go to a white school where there's white school only, then you see a principal black. Never. Because that one will disagree with their ideology. So it is like that. So firstly, when we want to solve our educational system, the placing of teachers. We want to see more of those white teachers there. White teachers, Indian teachers, we want to see them. You know why? When there's suffering, when they strike, they must be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be
They must be there. We want to see that. They must be there. Not only there, they must be there. We would like to see that. But now, that is why the placing of teachers will find white teachers that are in the multiracial school, because they know it won't affect them when they are there. So let all these black teachers stay there in township. When there's so if I get from there, then we must go back within the educational system here to balance our history. This 70% European history and 30% African history is a problem. Go back. For example, you ask white people about their history. Do you know that they don't? Maybe I'm wrong, but most of them, when I chat with them, they don't know about South African history. They know about Anglo-Boer. They know about Afrikaner. That's their history. They know more about that. So they will tell you, no, Afrikaner and some European history. So scrap all that. Start from the beginning. That's why I'm saying the current political political party that is in charge right now is not making us any favor. They are just there. They are being controlled. They are not saying anything. It's like, no, it's okay. The way things are, no, it's okay. I'll tell you something, even when you look at our feeding school, like feeding whatever they call it. Normally when they come to our schools, a feeding scheme. Yeah, feeding scheme. It's not the same as white people. It's not the same. So it gives me the idea. Maybe what I'm a pie, maybe what I'm a pie.
Like pie.
Yeah, what you pie. So I want to go to so that's what I'm saying.
Pie.
Yeah, no, let us balance. Ingathi ingane esikoleni makufanele idle laphana it ngibabonile ingane ezidla laphana uthola ukuthi ingane mayidla laphana idla erula
Yeah,
Istambu
besidla
udla
ngerula
nerula,
vele.
yeah, udla ngerula ini. So it won't change. It means now we are making it norm. Yeah, it's fine, man. Ijwayelekile. We see anything. There's nothing wrong. I know it's fine, man. It's like our suffering is normal.
Yeah.
Let us accept it. Injalo ini. Another thing is, that's why I'm saying youth must be deeply involved in politics, especially ground politics. Ground politics, they must give them a chance there. We would like to see a president that is, please, man, skatela ma president matala, man. Sooner a fresh ideas, sooner somebody would bo, there is something 40. And somebody would say, when there's a problem there, I think, no, let me go there. They will say, let's sit down and let me see. So let's sit down and see we discuss about this. But now government yet we don't discuss. There's no discussion here. It's like they are commanding you. Okay, this will happen from next week.
Peli.
You don't say anything. They want to, they want to be in power forever. So we're sick and tired of Laban. We're sick and tired.
So Mabaphuma mfethu, what do you think should happen next?
Youth.
Asithi bayaphuma nje for theory's sake.
Yeah.
Mina I don't think mfethu
It won't happen. No,
the way izingangikhona, yeah, maybe bangaphuma, but angakaboni an indication. Into ezothi, yeah, these people bavaya.
That won't happen. I'm telling you, it won't happen, but there's something esingayenza. Honestly, there's something esingayenza. What is it esingayenza? Problem is problem actually this older generation. It's a problem. They are stuck in, it was about 1960 ban. No, the ANC has done this for power, for this. This is where the problem starts. But now, once you start convincing them that older generation now, this party is Linux, anything, then we should go vote for another party. Vote them out. For once, when the party is comfortable, they know they will win. It is comfortable. They won't do the job. Let us now vote them out. For once, if they can vote them out, well, I think we should let's give other parties a chance. If we can give other parties a chance, I know a leader, and they will get a leader. A leader also was good to kulbisana nezingi. Yeah. So I think this is another thing. We can go to another road. Because in King will be stuck on one thing wherever. The other president is 14 or 60. About Mantashe, he's been there, Minister of Mineral Resource for a very long time. I think he must retire now. There's nothing personal with him, but now he must retire. Yeah, same tala manje this is how things are. Best we have one shift or advice. By a veteran, man. Please, for once, by a veteran. Yeah, on the sideline. Yeah, I'm from the Ganjalo because now, man, but abafuna ukuhlala lapha chowing is the way chow. Yeah, and another thing, they know how to say good. They know how to say isn't this right? Is good now when now more say yeah, this is favoring me. They know. They make their research. These people.
Any thoughts? Any final thoughts? Maybe about the Golden Mafia since so those few episodes.
Even though when I look, even though our political leaders are corrupt, but the West are deeply involved in this. They are deeply involved in this. As long as the West are still are involved going into the exam politics, this is where the problem is. Firstly, what I would like, for example, look at the situation as Zimbabwe. Now they must discuss what is Zimbabwe must sanction appeal. If it can be like that, we can trace it. Yeah, Western sanctions. If we can stop those sanctions, I mean, this is where we'll start tracing what's really happening, because the system will be placed there. For the Zimbabwean, because the president of Zimbabwe is not doing it for Zimbabweans, he's doing it for himself. And he's not saying anything. Nobody's like, and the African Union is not saying anything about that. You know why?
And the sanctions have been there since
this year. But now, I think we should use our strategies. So good now. If it's like that, let's pull out from United Nations. Let's pull out because the sanction is just too much. The sanction, because sanction. You should know, when you sanction a country, you're not affecting only the political leader. The political leader will suffer. The ones that suffer are people on the ground. So the same thing they should do. The African Union must talk about this. Not only the few countries. The African Union must talk about this and say, no, enough, it's enough. Now, if an esmameli, what's the use of good thing as be part United Nations? As Pumain. For example, the previous president, okay, the Hlegisa Zuma, no, JZ. JZ, he has tested them. Oguti, South Africa now, we are pulling out of ICC. We saw what happened. All African countries said, no, even us, we're pulling out. They had to come back to South Africa and beg South Africa. It means we have something on hold on them. I don't care, it's America or what. If we say, if South Africa, to be honest, if South Africa said we had nothing to do with this country, the whole continent won't have anything to do with the country. That's the kind of respect the African countries they have for South Africans. So South Africa will never get poor. Let's be honest. Never get poor as long as the Chinese are here, the white people are here, the Bullies are here. They don't want to suffer. They might say sanction this, but they and they might threaten us in higher in, but that won't happen. So our political leaders, it shows there's a problem. This corruption is too much. We thought there's corruption that is happening behind a closed door. That's why I'm saying we need fresh blood. Because of that's why I'm saying we need a fresh blood. Because when they get older, as I said, when they get older, they become corrupt, and now they must repay themselves. We'll be struggling for a whole life here to finance something in money in return. They don't think like at that age we You see, that's why I'm saying when we get older, just move. New generation, I figure I am the So honestly, this thing won't change as long as we still have that old generation. We should be. Yeah, mele bavaya, skatele, mele bavaya. No bavaya, bavaya labo JZ. Bavaya labo so mele bavaya. Basazova abanye. So ne deputy na ngapha, deputy ngapha na still older generation. You see what I'm talking about? So there's no balance. There's actually no balance there because there's no hope that one day we'll be led by somebody who's younger. There's no hope. I don't see that happening. But around the world it's happening. Look at the French guy. He's young. Obama was young also, let's be honest. He's young. Even if I don't agree with some of the things that he said, but the age was young. Look at all these African leaders right now. Look at all who's this guy from Uganda? There's this guy from Uganda, Muselebi. He's old. President of Rwanda, old. Kagame, old. South Africa, old. You see them, all of them are old. Yeah, Wamatala. There's no even a single country like I would say maybe George Weah. George Weah, yeah, age or George Weah. Only few. Some African countries there, they see the light. That's what I can say. That older generation.
Final thoughts? Anything something you wanted to share before Sivala Matsala?
This it is very important. We've been saying these things. I think we've been saying this since the beginning. Show yet. This thing of saying we must use platform. This platform, we know that the platform is now funding is not too much. But now, you as a viewer, we born now show some interest. When you show some interest, we can make this bigger. It can grow. It can grow. Now, your thoughts. You want your thoughts now. No, once you support this broadcasting here, it is nice because now it's growing. It started like this. Media houses sometimes it's
and so, actually, I was thinking I did a video last Izolo. I posted it Izolo. The first radio to sort of get a license to podcast, it was called Bush Radio. It's Cape Town around 1980s.
You see,
maybe it's illegally operating. But say, you know what, just pushy voice. We need to tell the stories of the people when Zagalana apartheid and on. And then after a year, after 94, the government gave them a license to operate. After 2006, they gave them a 4-year permanent license. So, as he is in the fact, they do take time. True. And they are really important for the Jongo Busasho.
True. Because now that's why I'm saying we need support. yebo seyintwana zasegasi but asisho ukuthi sifuna ukuthi yonke into ihlale isegasi sifuna isegasi but we want it develop ingabi na kasi since
Mele ibe ne-impact.
mele ibe ne-impact so now bheka ama viewers I know but I know I definitely know that one day we will get there. We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. That's why I'm saying now we must bring wonke lama high profile. High profile. Pramike, we must bring Pramike. We'll bring Pramike definitely show high profile. Nathi akuso sinaba ama political leaders. Bring that thing. Futhi sibonga noma viewers sethu siyazi ukuthi bakhona abanye abahleli mayihlele elokishini yacabanga ukuthi azini I like the idea. What singayenza kanjani ukuthi sikwazi ubasiza lapha. Please, if you have resources, please letha mona sacela
Bafethu, Kaseringa's podcast. Amatala, thank you for the conversation. I think kumele sichubekise. I mean, there's a lot of things that is jumpile kumele siringe ngazo. But yeah, sibheke battery, sibheke siyazi fit. Siyagcwala space la.
Yeah, well, that's why we want resources. That's why.
So push it to 3 hours
exactly.
non-stop.
Exactly.
But with the resources we have, Bafedi, we say thank you. Thank you, Matsala, for Zwagala, Kaseringa's podcast. It's your boy Pegzi.
Ameen.
I'm out.
Ameen, mauva.
Mauvu yazi. Iuvu iletha nini?
Mara uthi mara yazi ungenza isigebengu man. Ungenza isigebengu man.